Listen, Emily, I have an idea for you, a crazy one. Nick, a friendly marketing expert, found a woman's lost driver's license and returned it to her home. But what she offered him in return wasn't just gratitude. It was an opportunity so unexpected it would leave them both in tears and change their lives forever. Nick was a man in his mid-30s who worked for a small marketing organization. Since childhood, Nick had a talent for persuasion, so he decided to follow the marketing path when he grew up. As a guru in persuasion, Nick grew fast in the organization, and less than 2 years after starting there, he was promoted to a top level. Aside from being very good at his job, Nick was a jovial person who loved to crack jokes and laugh. Some of his colleagues appreciated that about him. In fact, one of the reasons Nick excelled in the marketing sector was not just his talent, but his friendly and upbeat attitude. Whenever Nick wasn't working, he would either go for a long walk or work out at home. He had turned a small section of his living room into a home gym. To Nick, life was beautiful, and he was happy with all his achievements. He was the kind of man who was content with what he had and often enjoyed the small things in life. One weekend, after cleaning his house and doing laundry as per his routine, Nick decided to go for a short walk in the neighborhood. Exhausted from all the house chores, he skipped his planned workout and opted for a walk instead. Shortly after leaving his house, Nick decided to cross a big park as a shortcut instead of following his usual route. That was when he noticed a red lady's wallet lying on the field. At first, Nick wanted to ignore it and walk away, but on second thought, he stopped and picked it up. Someone must have lost this, Nick said to himself. Upon opening the wallet, Nick found cash and a driver's license. The license belonged to a woman named Emily, and her address showed that she lived 3 streets away from where Nick had found the wallet. She might be worried. I need to take this to her, Nick thought to himself. 15 minutes later, Nick found Emily's house, a decent-sized home with pretty flowers planted outside. He knocked twice on the door, and a woman opened it. "Hello, I'm Nick," he introduced himself. Emily, a pretty woman in her 50s, smiled warmly. "Hi, Nick. How can I help you?" she asked. "I found this in the park while I was taking a walk this evening. It had your driver's license and address on it," Nick said, stretching the wallet toward her. "Oh my. Thank you so much. I've been looking everywhere for this for nearly 2 days now," Emily exclaimed, her eyes sparkling with gratitude. "You're welcome," Nick said. "Anyway, I'll be on my way, Emily." "Wait, I'd love to thank you properly. Would you like to come in for a cup of coffee? It's the least I can do." She gestured toward her cozy home. "It's quiet and peaceful here. No grandkids running around today." Nick hesitated for a moment, but Emily's warm smile and genuine invitation were hard to resist. "Well, I can't say no to a cup of coffee," he replied with a chuckle, "especially not after all that walking." Emily beamed and stepped aside, holding the door open for him. "Come on in then," she said. "Let me make you a fresh pot." Emily's house was spacious and beautifully decorated. The interior felt calm and soothing, and the scented candles on her coffee table set the mood. "You love candles?" Nick asked as he settled down, noticing the vast collection on the table. "Oh dear, I don't just love candles. I make them. I have tons of those in my closet," Emily replied as she handed him a cup of coffee. "Do you mind if I take a look?" Nick asked. "Of course not," Emily responded immediately. Nick walked to the table and inhaled the different scents of the candles. "These are really good. Do you sell them?" he asked. "Oh no," Emily said. "I've not been able to get people to buy them, so I just make them and give them to people." "But you could make a ton of money selling them," Nick tried to convince her. "I know, Nick. I tried to sell them in the past, but I wasn't very successful," Emily explained. "I totally understand," Nick replied. The rest of the evening was spent chatting over coffee. Emily shared stories about her grandkids and explained that she had lost her wallet the day she took them to the park. She didn't realize it was missing until she got home that evening. After their long talk, Emily fixed dinner for the two of them. Nick thanked her wholeheartedly. He loved how warm and kind Emily was, and she reminded him of his late Aunt Clara. "I have to go now, Emily. Thank you so much for hosting me today," Nick said. It was already several minutes past 9, and Nick knew he had to get home on time for his favorite TV show. "Oh, Nick, thank you so much. I don't know what I would have done without you. You made this old lady's day," Emily said with a broad smile. "No, Emily, I should thank you. My stomach is filled because of you, and I do not take that for granted," Nick said. "You're such a kind man. Tell me, what should I do to repay you for your kindness?" Emily asked. "You have already done enough, Emily. I loved that cup of coffee, our conversation, and the food," Nick answered. "No, Nick, I insist," Emily said. Nick scratched the back of his head. "Okay, some candles. I would love some candles," he said. "Hold on, I'll be back in a jiffy." Emily smiled as she walked out of the living room. A couple of minutes later, Emily returned with a big box of candles for Nick. "Geez, Emily, you didn't have to. A candle would have been enough," Nick said when he saw Emily walking toward him with the box. "Just one candle for a kind and rare man like you." "You've got to be kidding me," Emily said as she handed the box of candles to Nick. When Nick looked into the box, he realized Emily had given him more than 15 large-sized scented candles. Nick tried to speak, but Emily pressed her index finger against her lips. "Shoo, don't say anything. I already told you I had a ton of those candles in my closet," Emily smiled. Nick was totally speechless, but he knew he had to thank Emily for her generosity, so he did. As Nick walked home with his box of candles that evening, an idea struck him. Nick remembered that Emily had said she had never sold a candle despite trying so hard. He decided to do something for her. Being an expert marketer, Nick knew he could sell Emily's candles in a couple of days. All he needed were the right people. That evening, when Nick got home, he took pictures of the scented candles, surfed the internet to find their distinct uses, and made an ad online. On Monday, while heading to work, Nick took some of the candles with him. By the end of that day, he had sold all of them to his colleagues. As for the ad Nick made, the results were fantastic. By the end of the week, he had sold all the candles. Afterward, Nick planned to visit Emily again and give her the money. That weekend, he stopped by Emily's house, and she was thrilled to see him. "Hi, Emily. Would you mind if I took a minute of your time?" Nick said as soon as Emily opened the door. "Oh, Nick, please come on inside," Emily said, ushering him in. Then she walked straight to the kitchen to make him a cup of coffee. "Thank you, Emily," Nick said as she handed him the cup of coffee. "I have something for you," he added with a broad smile. "Oh, really? What's that?" Emily asked excitedly. Without wasting time, Nick took out a white envelope from his pocket and handed it to Emily. "What's this for?" Emily asked in surprise after seeing the contents of the envelope. "It's from the sales of your candles," Nick said. "Wait, what? People actually bought my candles?" Emily asked, shocked. "Yes, they did," As a matter of fact, they want more, Nick responded confidently. Oh my gosh. Emily burst into tears. I can't believe you made so much money selling my candles, she added, trying to hold back her tears. I'm sorry. I can't take this. The candles were yours, not mine, Emily said. No, Emily. They were yours, and this money belongs to you, Nick responded. After crying for a minute, Emily wiped her tears and hugged Nick tightly. Thank you so much, Nick. You have no idea what this means to me. It had always been my dream to sell at least one of my candles to someone, Emily said. Don't worry, Emily. I will help you sell as many candles as you can make. I'm a marketer, and selling is what I do best, Nick said. From that day, just as Nick promised, he helped Emily sell dozens of her scented candles. In return, Emily made a lot of money, and they fostered a strong business relationship. Not only that, but Emily and Nick became good friends, and Nick ultimately became a family friend to Emily. She believed she was repaying Nick for his kindness toward her, not knowing she was about to foster a new relationship that would change her life forever. Sometimes the kindness we show to strangers can ripple out in unexpected ways. Emily's simple act of hospitality toward Nick, the man who returned her lost wallet, led to a chain of events that changed both their lives for the better. It's a reminder that even the smallest gestures of goodwill can have a profound impact, and that perhaps the universe does reward those who choose kindness.